my OMI C-18 tender. What I've done there is I've drilled out the back of the lamp there, and I've put in a couple of wires up into a surface mount lead 0603 warm white. And the other thing which I've done, I've added a connector pin here, and I just put that on. That's going to be the yellow wire. I only need to have one wire coming across. The other, I've soldered a wire onto here, onto the brass body, so that I'm picking up track power, which would be the alternative to the blue wire on the decoder, and put a 1.5k resistor inside. And just to show that this is going to work, I'll just connect this up. The positive and the negative, and there we go, we've got the rear light going. And we'll just take those out. It's off, back on again. So that's an easy way of only having one wire between the loco and the tender to do it. The other thing is, always put the male pin on here, because if the decoder wire comes out and had the male pin on it was to hit the track, ooh, you'd have trouble. So you always had the female on the loco side. So that's part one. This is a beautiful model. I mean, you get the working doors on this, and you've even got the working hatch. Now there's an animation I can get going later on. These are the 0402 leads I just soldered up, and get an idea of how big they are. Very tiny. This wire that I'm using, I don't use the magnet wire, because the enamel coating on it's too thin and it could rub off, and with movement over time. This is a Hobby King Turnigy Teflon insulated wire. So I just soldered the wires onto there, and I'm using the Arlene's clear tacky glue, and all I do is I just dip that into the glue, pull it out and let that dry. Now this one's dried, so is the other one. So there's one that's on there now on the lead tester, and I'll dip that into glue, and then I'll put it in and leave it to dry and orientate it. What I mean by orientate it, I'll get it into the get it inside there, and you need to get the light right. See what I mean by moving that? You don't get it right and you orientate it, you're not going to see it coming out properly and evenly. So by doing that, I'll show you what I'm doing here. I've got the camera in front of me, so I'm trying to work around it. I'll get some glue. There's the glue, and I'll push it into the glue. So I've already pushed it into the glue once, but I'm just getting a little bit extra glue on there now, so that when I push it in there now, I'll leave it to dry. I love the Arlene's glue, it's brilliant stuff. Just find the hole there. There's the glue, work it in a little bit, and orientate it so that it's right. That's about it there. Whoop, there. Now what I've got to do is I've just got to leave that to dry, and I know that it's going to be right, and I'll do the other one. It's just a matter of patience doing this sort of thing there to get it right, and the loco is going to look right. But that's you don't get too much focus on this camera. Here we go. Try that. Yep. That's you can see I've got the light on there now. That was tinted green. I'm quite happy to leave the green on it there. This is going to be the switcher in my Ure, so there's for part one. There's the second one. So I've orientated that so I'm getting the brilliance coming out with the illumination coming out the front. So they're just ready to be left there, and an hour later they should be dry. This is a bit of a surprise, finding the boiler tubes when I opened up the smoke box door. So they're in there with a lead weight and a screw holding it in. What I've got to do is I've got to move that further forward, which shouldn't affect the balance of the weight, because I'm adding a speaker and that in the back behind this in any case, and the TCS WOW and a KA3. I like the KA3s, they're really reliable. I love them. They're in all my locos. So I'll trim this back a bit, and I'll still have room. I've shortened the blue and the black and white stripe for the keep alive. I can just put those together and they'll fit inside the boiler easily. And then the speaker I'm working on, I've cut the high bass speaker down, so just got to wrap some paper around this again. First lot of paper didn't line up right, so that'll go inside the boiler, and that'll be just facing back, just in front of the gear tower, facing backwards. The loco, I've just put the headlight wires in. A little bit more work to do. The bell doesn't swing, so I've got to pull that bell out and get one that's going to swing. So and put a motor up inside here on the bell rope like I normally do on all my locos. Having the bell working is so much more fun. So just a bit of progress I'll share with you. While we're waiting for the glue to dry, I come up and I start working on the layout. It's the put some grass down the other day, or yesterday, and that's I got the section house and the bunkhouse that's in here already. And just to give you an idea, I've got to build a Conoco plant here. I just put a lid in there for the moment to make it look like it's a fuel tank. And the stockyard. Turntable, yet to build a turntable, but getting the rock work and that sort of thing there to look like photographs I've had, some more trees that I've made, and that's going to start to look pretty good. I'll move back a little bit more and get an idea of how it looks. That's outside the door. I've made the control panel. I've just got all the wiring to do there yet, and the depot I've got out at the moment. That's where we're up to. I've removed the cab. I've just made up a cabin light. So that's using a Grant Line HO transparent reflector, and they're clear sort of thing. And again, I'm using this Hobby King 36 gauge wire. And I've drilled a couple of holes in the top there, so I can run the wires for the light, and I'll run another pair of wires up to a motor that's going to work the bell. And we now got the classification lights working. On the back I put a piece of printed circuit board, cut some slots to separate it, and just make some solder pads, so that when I'm putting the headlight on and putting resistors in, it's easy. It's all up the front there, and if I ever need to do anything, I can easily pull the smoke box cover off. And we've changed out the bell. I've got the bell working, so I've got a working bell there now. So I've got to put a motor in there in the cab. Back end detail that comes with the locos, very nicely done. And I've added the light there too, which is the cabin light, which is a 0603. I'll just put that into a Grant Line lampshade. So we're getting there. The other thing is, when you're doing any of this work, I've got a big soldering station here. There's my hand, you can get an idea of the size of it. So I've got the up and down, the temperature that I can set it at, and the nice small tip. Having a temperature control soldering station is a must for any of this DCC work. I don't want the classification lights to be, you can just see them just glowing there now. I put a 5.1 K resistor in there. Could go a little bit higher, maybe get up into a 6. I might try that, but they're on there now. Whoop, let's come off. That's not too bad. The motor that comes with the OMI loco, that's not too bad. I've opened up the bottom and I've re-greased, put some fresh grease in, and I've lubricated the sides, and I've just got a temporary on there where I've been running it in a little bit on DC just to get all the oil floating around there in the bearings, journal boxes and the rods. So that's a little test that I also do there. The motor, and looking at the motor current draw as well, and that's so that's fine. So I'm just going to leave that one in there. The next part, I'll do a second part to this, following up when I'm actually putting the WOW decoder in, so we actually get that in. So that'll be in part 2. There's some of the Array. There's a blueprint. And the photos. Other information that I've got from friends. There's the big blueprint showing the north yard, turntable, the depot, and down to the lumber yard. So it's quite a large print. I've got another one there of the blueprint of the north yard as well.